some might suggest that when you live in this modern day world, if you do anything wrong nowadays, of course, you don't really get told off. Seriously, you can climb back into the fray without so much. And when you think about it, in our generation and older, if you did anything wrong, you were first of all humiliated. Yourself, you wanted to apologise, perhaps for your bad behaviour, maybe being told off the way you served a customer, or indeed perhaps you were a little snappy with the manager. You know what I'm talking about. In today's society, seemingly the more bad things you do, the better respected you are. And I find this incredible, particularly in these public service arenas that we have today. We're talking as ever about the BBC. Now, the BBC is an organisation that if you live here in the United Kingdom, of course you have to pay for the privilege of watching. It is a tax, there's no two ways about it, and recently it just went up by £10. Now, cast your mind back over a year and a bit ago now, and this debacle by a BBC newsreader saw her being suspended. And one might have thought that she might have had the good grace, of course, to go away, perhaps reflect on her lack of humility, lack of professionalism, and, well, disappear. No, she decided to go for a lawsuit against the BBC, and they seemingly have now become incredibly nervous. And guess what? This happened. Morning, lovely to see you as ever. Thank you so much for your time today. And yes, a bit of a night shoot. I thought I'd give you a treat. Isn't this a lovely, lovely area? It's a friend of mine who literally told me about this. And what it is, it's one of these sort of calf bar areas that you can sit in late at night. I don't mean too late at night, but you know what I mean. It's just one of those places. There's traffic, lots of people. It's very safe. And it's one of those things where when you've been busy out on a long day or a hot day, as I have today, you think, oh yes, just gather me thoughts, before you go home and have your Horlicks. Do you know what I'm saying? I know, well, it's the only thing you can gather here. It's a little bit pricey. Do you know what I mean? Well, you know me. No, I last opened the wallet in 2019. I'm not breaking any rules. Can't rush me. Anyway, back to this particular story. On a serious note, I find this incredible. This lady, as I say, was suspended, Maxine Croxall. And the bottom line is, when you think about it, she should really have remained off screen. Basically, what she said was that she was thrilled, delighted, and absolutely ecstatic by the fact that the former British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Boris Johnson, was indeed found guilty of whatever misdemeanour it was at that particular time. And she didn't care. This is live on air. You're meant to be impartial. You're meant to, of course, reflect the standards of the BBC. But they've invited her back. This is simply because, as she boasted on social media, she may be under the litigation terms of the BBC about a sexual discrimination case, but they've invited her back. So what does this do to the people like you and I that are forced to pay this tax for the BBC? Well, as you can imagine, with somebody like Tim Davitt, it makes an absolute mockery of it all, because quite frankly, people are suggesting, well, if you're not going to go by the rules of impartiality, if you're not going to present the news in an impartial way, and you're clearly going to keep rehiring and hiring people that reflect this, why should we be forced to do this? And this is where, as ever, it gets incredibly interesting. Moving forward, we put a call into the BBC and naturally nobody's bothered to get back. And Martine herself, as I say, is resplendent across social media, basically saying she's thrilled to be back. But will the BBC licence fee payers feel the very same way? And will there be once again another mass exodus of people refusing to pay? And will the BBC be spending millions forcing you and I to try and get that money? It's a mess, a big mess, but not for Martine. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.